Seems that I've got myself into a very sticky situation. I mentioned last week the expression on my wife's face when I informed her that I'd just bought a new boat. But it's all in pursuit of a very good cause. You see, I'm about to use this boat as a donor for a heart transplant for Sarah Ann. After being run into on her mooring, Moran was pronounced dead on arrival. But fortunately, her owner consented to donating her organs to a very worthwhile cause, which turns out to be Sarah Ann.
It's not quite lined up.
Have got light coloured putty, so they're nailed on with ring grip silicon bronze nails, and the putty is just too light and it stands out like proverbials. So what I've done is I took the little grinder and just took all the putty out nice and neatly, and I'm thinking that I'll probably refill them with that kind of a setup. Now what that is, it's polyester resin. I've added some ochre, which is from the masonry trade. Here you've got a little I don't know, gum pocket or something like that. You notice it's dark. And here you've got a couple of plugs, and they show up a bit darker than the surrounding timber. So the danger is when you go for a light colour is they stand out like that. The time has come to take the hatch off so that I can get to these rails to clean them up. As you can see, they're well and truly due for some varnish. Now this fashion piece here is what stops the hatch from sliding out. Let me take that off first. When I bought the boat, this had been smashed. There is a risk that you get a line catches under here. I'm going to mask off the outside, sand it right back. Coat of primer and 2 coats of enamel on there. And then I'll tape it off with a nice border around the outside and put the non-slip just inside the border area. So this piece is just dry fitted. Doesn't need to be sealed in any way, and it comes off that easily. That's very simple, just slide straight out once you've taken that fashion piece off right there. I had a friend who used to sign all of his emails with a tagline that said, "Always looking for a better way." And I'm always looking for a better way, especially when it comes to sanding and scraping and painting, covering significant surfaces. And so I'm taking off the anti-slip, which is Norglass. It's got a sort of a plastic grit embedded in it, which is really great. It's not a silicon kind of one, silica, because silica is really hard to get off. But this one, I was sanding it with the big random orbital sander, but now I can just scrape this off. Comes off very quickly with a well sharpened scraper. Gets it back to a level there. I'll then put the random orbital over the top just to finish it off, and then it's ready for a coat of enamel. In need of thinning. Now the whole idea is that I'm going to get a really good seal down here, so I'm not masking it this time. Because the deck paint will overlap over that, varnish and then deck paint, and layer after layer. Probably, I'm thinking 4 coats. I'm taking off some of this non-slip Norflex, I think it's called, deck grip paint, and I'm taking it right back to the canvas in places where there's been a bit of blistering. I've decided that I'm not going to put out as many videos in the next few months. Once I get to the other side of Christmas, then there'll be a barrage of them, all sorts of adventures planned. But in the meantime, a lot of preparation work to do for the Australian Wooden Boat Festival.
I know sooner or later it will come, the day that I know I'm in love.
It takes a lot of patience and a lot of time and a reasonable measure of skill, but persistence will get you there.
And I look at my window to see what the universe has in store for me.
I've heard it said that if an axe is dull and you don't sharpen the edge, then you must use more strength, but wisdom will bring success.
The sky starts to roll up its clouds, so the sun can just stop hiding out.
And some would argue that if the axe is dull, then the idea would be to stop and sharpen the axe.
So every night I stare at the moon, just to check if she's still looking blue.
When the time comes to take on a major project, like stripping back Sarah Ann to the bare wood and starting again with all the decks and topsides, I really want to start out with a sharp set of tools. But often that's not the case. You know, the workshop's a bit too small and I keep bumping my head because of that. I don't really have enough money to run the project.
The windows will open and sing.
But sometimes you've just got to get started, even if you don't think you've got the resources to do it. And somehow or other, they come. And that was the case with this project.
Like a song that is playing just for me.
And Sarah Ann is in desperate need of a new engine. There are all sorts of risks that you've got to take to get underway with the project. And deep within it stirs our insecurities and our fears. A project like this to those that don't understand it, could easily be seen as folly.
The sky was spread open its clouds.
But we know something that the doubters just don't understand.
The windows will open and sing like birds that are spreading, that are spreading.
It's likely that in 50 years' time, no one will probably even remember my name. But they will be able to enjoy the intergenerational legacy of this beautiful little wooden boat that is Sarah Ann. Okay, so I had several holes through the sides of the cockpit which I've filled, and I'm doing a little bit of fairing here to get a final fairing coat to go on there, because where the canvas overlaps there's a bit of an indent either side there, a little bit of scalloping there, so there's a join in the canvas here, so you've got double thickness of canvas and that creates a little bit of shaping. So about a year ago I found myself cutting holes in the cockpit floor to give access to the controls of the Volvo. So now I'm seriously committing to the upgrade of the engine to the Kubota, and that means that I've got to fill those holes in. The plywood used here in the cockpit floor is 19mm thick, so I'm creating a rebate 12mm thick and using 12mm ply, which will sit in on that, and then I'm bedding it in using West System flexible epoxy, thickened up a little bit. It's going to be super strong. I bought this 1950s bandsaw 2.5 years ago now, and this is probably the first time I've actually fired it up in a serious project. I'm using ground fiberglass dust as a thickening agent, so it's based on normal polyester resin. This will be a very, very strong fix and probably stronger than the rest of the sheet of plywood. Whatever the thickening agent is that you're using, you put it in last after having mixed part A and part B together, and the reason is that you don't want to set the epoxy off by stirring it up too much. If you're new to using a belt sander, then the key to avoiding those sort of indentations you get which come off the heel of the sanding belt is that you slightly unweight it with the handle as you're pulling it towards you. Now this fix is already as strong as you can get, but of course I've gone 12 rebate into a 19mm sheet of ply, so that leaves a 7mm deep void on the other side. It's not structural, and I'm using copious amounts of polyester resin, which is actually builder's bog. Do you know, I've been using Sally's Plastibond, which is a polyester resin filler, for 45-50 years. And it's still holding up beautifully in the applications where I've used it on moonlight. But as with a lot of things, it's become a very expensive product. So I've adopted the use of builder's bog, same product, just a cheaper version with a lot more air in it. I'm going to have a bit of fun doing some masking now. It'd be interesting to see the kind of comments that I get on this. I appreciate you putting them in, because I did have a friend say, oh, it's looking like a fiberglass hybrid. Now, I like the idea of the maintenance of a fiberglass boat, but I don't like the idea of it looking like a fiberglass boat. So, fiberglass hybrid, I can probably cope with that much. So that's not a bad radius, it works quite well with the pinstriping tape. So I've got 6mm here. I did have some 3mm stuff somewhere. I'm sure I've still got some 3mm stuff, but I'm working with the 6mm, which is very, very flexible. Just got to watch you don't overstretch it, because it has the ability to curl up again. Because it's been a few days since I painted this with the enamel, I'm going to give that a light sand just to create a bit of mechanical adhesion. So right now I'm going to leave Sarah Ann to sit for a few days and let some of that enamel harden off, because I'm heading up to Devonport at the Mersey Yacht Club, where I'm going to inspect my new acquisition. I did say that I got myself into a sticky situation. I am about to show you the situation I've got into, and then over the next week I'll be having sleepless nights working out how the heck am I going to get out of this. Over here at the Mersey Yacht Club, home of Moran and many other fine vessels as well. It's also the home of a lot of very angry seagulls that prevented me from launching my drone. Release that, Chris. See this? Yeah, very nice.
The secret was what I made and designed.
Wow, wow.
The cup and ball.
Yeah, yeah.
So it just works off that.
There you go.
So
you got a patent on it?
What's that?
Have you got a patent on it?
No. So don't go advertising. So all you do.
Yep. Lift him up there.
Lift him up.
Yep.
Slide that under there. And there's your dolly.
Excellent.
You can wheel it and manoeuvre it. And
Yeah, that's very clever.
Yeah.
More than just a pretty
Just made
face.
it out of aluminium.
Yeah.
And bolted it into the holes that were already there. And
Yeah.
So that's our rescue boat, or race boat.
The Huggy Maru.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a very capable rescue boat.
Yeah, they're a North Shore design.
Oh yeah.
So they handle the rough water very nicely.
Yep.
The big benefit of it is because the offset cabin, you can walk right up to the bow to the anchor.
Right.
Off to the side.
Oh yes.
The cabin's off to one side, so
Yeah.
you can do that safely with the rail there like that.
Okay. So you come up well with the cut and polish.
Yeah. Just shocking colour for polish. Here's Moran.
so it is that the angry seagull theme is continued, as Moran was previously the home of an emerging rookery. So let's climb on board and have a look at what Robert did to sort that situation out. There, Robert.
Sorry?
This is a bit of a setup here.
That's what I rebuilt.
No, this wind vane thingy. So tell me about this, the wind vane.
Oh, the wind vane, yeah. Yeah, they just keep the...
Oh, it's to keep the birds off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So depending on how things work out, I should have another video to release in a couple of weeks' time, which will show a full tour of Moran. It'll show the pros and cons and the anguish that I went through to decide whether or not she was worth restoring in some way, or whether the fact that she'd been written off had plenty of reason behind it. So in the meantime, really appreciate it if you could take the time to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and really appreciate your comments, and I do reply to every comment that's made on this channel.